Hey, what's up, guys? It's Fulke here. I just want to give a shout out to Boogie Bentley, Dauber, and the Indie Kid over at the Talkin VAWLS network on YouTube. Keep doing your thing, guys. Go Vols.
Here's the number one undefeated Volunteers prepare to race onto the field. Everything is riding on this football game. So there's a special intensity, a special urgency. Here come the Volunteers. Wherever you listen throughout the world, it's football time in Tennessee.
Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley.
My name is the Indy Villain.
Oh, Villain. You should see you can change your name on the screen there, Indy Villain. Got to get you to change that. If you're going to be the villain, you can be the villain. We are at Talkin VAWLS _pod on Twitter. If you go to Facebook, you can search Talkin VAWLS, Instagram as well. Give us a follow. Check us out there. Vols take care of business today, 56-0. They did what they were supposed to do. But I'm sure people are still upset. There's a lot to talk about. The quarterback controversy, is it settled? Or are we going to settle it today? We're going to find out. We're going to take your comments and questions in the chat. Speaking of the chat, let's see who is hanging out. We got Aaron Duck hanging out and bringing up a good point that I had in my notes as well. Will we ever go shotgun in short yardage? I do not know. Power T is here, a member of the channel. Thank you for the support. Doc Gunslinger is hanging out. He says he should. If they won't, play him in 42-0 game. Oh, I'm sure they're talking about Harrison Bailey and telling him to transfer. I'm sure that's what it is. Let's find somebody more recent. Terry Reed is here. Welcome to the show, Terry Reed. Tim Bradley in the chat, Talkin VAWLS OG. Doesn't want to be a Debbie Downer, but he thinks the season is pretty much over at this point. Guys, come on in. Make sure you do smash that thumbs up. We would greatly appreciate it. Also, I'm expecting a pretty slow show today. It's Tennessee Tech. It is what it is. A lot of people doing other things on this Saturday, but share out the link. Let people know we're live. Let's grow the live chat. Let me hit this super chat. We'll get things kicked off here. Dylan Robertson for 10. Thank you for the super chat. Says he's going to start Joe. That's his only option if he wants a chance to beat Florida. Evan Counts follows that up with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Evan. Says, do y'all feel like we are still watching a Chaney run offense? I don't feel that way. Let's start with the popular topic. Let's start with the quarterbacks because I agree. I agree with that comment from Dylan Robertson there, the super chat for $10. I think Joe Milton's his guy, and I think he knows Joe Milton is his guy. I think if it was a big-time game, I think we would have seen Joe Milton today. He wants Joe to be healthy for Florida. That's why he wasn't dressed out. The way the quarterback reps work today seems to me like Hendon Hooker's QB2, and he wanted to get him as many reps as possible, and then he threw Harrison Bailey out there for a little mop-up duty towards the end.
Yeah, no doubt. We saw deep ball issues again today. We saw Hooker hit Javonte Payton in the first quarter. Nice throw down to the corner. Nice catch. It's not just Joe Milton missing deep balls, and that's not necessarily an issue with the receivers. That's just a timing issue. All three quarterbacks. Obviously, Milton didn't play today. Hooker missed deep balls. Harrison Bailey missed deep balls. I still wonder if it's not a little bit closer between Milton and Hooker. And I think Hooker is a little more elusive than Milton, even though Milton has shown that he can run also. But, I mean, Harrison Bailey, honestly, I'm going to fuel the fire a little bit. He showed me a little more elusiveness than I expected out of him today. But his passing lacked a little – but I'm going to reel that in. His passing lacked a little to be desired when he came in. I think it's Joe Milton. I think they go at a fast pace under Joe Milton. I think they're a little more on target with Joe Milton. Yeah, the deep passes have to be reeled in, but that's, from what we've seen, that's been the case with all three quarterbacks now.
Do you think the offense, it's different? the offense is different when Joe Milton is in the game. And like you said, the deep balls, it's maddening. I don't get it. I don't understand why he can't connect. But it just seems like, I don't know if it's the pace of play. I don't know. There is something about Joe Milton being in the game that opens up the offense. And I don't know if it's a confidence factor from Josh Heupel and Alex Golish. I don't know if that's what it is. They stretch the field more vertically. You know, we saw today Hendon Hooker. I thought Hendon Hooker looked good. I've got his stats pulled up here. Let me rattle them off because I know a lot of people love stats. Hendon Hooker, 17 of 25 for 199 and 3 touchdowns. But I felt like his game is just so much different. It's so much different than when Joe Milton's in the game. I don't feel like they necessarily stretch the field as much. Sure, he had a couple of deep balls there. He had the nice touchdown pass to Javonte Payton. He dropped a dime in the bucket. What a great throw that was. But it seems like it's more intermediate passing game. Is it confidence? Why does the offense look so much different with Joe Milton in the game? Do you agree with me when I say that?
I'm going to put there's one reason this offense has looked different from the first quarter of Bowling Green till now. Cooper Mays has barely played. That is the difference in how this offense has looked at this point, no matter who the quarterback is. If Cooper Mays were in and you had Wright, you had Carvin, you had Cooper Mays, you had Spraggins, you had Cade Mays, this offense would look so much different. That is making a huge, huge difference right now. No matter who the quarterback is, no matter who the running back is, I think there's talent at quarterback. I think there's talent at running back. This offensive line is not deep. And I don't know, one of the things that was said was this offensive line was left in better shape for Pruitt than for past coaches. I agree with them not playing Cooper Mays today. I don't know how ready he was or not, but Tennessee needs Cooper Mays back next week, regardless if it's Milton or if it's Hooker. And there's not a debate at this point. It's between one of those two. And I think part of those issues, and you and I texted about it during the game, I don't know that Harrison Bailey is necessarily off passing-wise from either Milton or Bailey. Milton or Hooker. But, yes, he showed the ability to scramble today, but he's not near as elusive, and he's definitely not near as quick with decision-making. And that's the difference. And we need to give Harrison Bailey that time to develop. He's going to be fine. And I hope he sticks around to develop under this staff. For when it's his time, he's going to flourish. But, yeah, this offensive line is going to determine, and they had a bad day overall today.
Yeah, we'll get into the offensive line. Robert, 45, Tennessee for 5. Thank you for the super chat. Says Hooker is a turnover machine. Heupel needs to go back to the portal and get another QB. And I don't know where Robert, 45, Tennessee stands. I don't know where he's been on this whole quarterback debate. But it's funny that we go from Milton to Hooker to Harrison Bailey's the savior to now everybody's seen Harrison Bailey. And we kind of got confirmation of why Harrison Bailey has not been in the mix. It is what it is. Whether you like it or not, it is what it is. And you can throw stats and numbers and high school statistics. It does not matter. We saw him in the game today. And I can't help but chuckle when you talk about his ability to scramble, because the kid was bouncing around like a ping pong ball. It was Tennessee Tech being unable to get him to the ground. It was not scrambling ability. I can't tell when people are being sarcastic or not. I go to the Facebook group and people are talking about the great run Harrison Bailey made for a touchdown. The Indy kid could have pulled that and walked into the end zone. Harrison Bailey was kind of doing a little Irish shuffle because nobody was near him. It is what it is. It's Joe Milton and Hendon Hooker, and Harrison Bailey is way behind. And it's people want to say that we don't like Harrison Bailey. We hate on the kid. That's not the case. He's not ready. Be patient. See, like right here, how Aaron Young, you don't super chat. All you do is come on and run your mouth. I get it. How is Harrison Bailey the answer? You please explain to me. I told Indy Kid I wasn't going to do this, but here we are. How is Harrison Bailey the answer? You guys love to throw out stats. Harrison Bailey, 3 for 7 with 16 yards, but yet he's the answer. Harrison Bailey showed you why he's quarterback number 3. That it is what it is. The question is, when we talk about quarterbacks, for me, as we move into Florida, do you go with Joe Milton or do you go with Hendon Hooker? I don't know what the answer is. We talked about the offense feeling more open, but the fact that Hendon Hooker is, whoever said it in the chat, talking about Hendon Hooker being a turnover machine, he's got to protect the ball. But the thing you love about him, his elusiveness, trying to make plays, he's out there spinning, juking, making guys miss. It's the downside, right? He turns the football over.
Yeah, you got to be able to protect it. But I think with this offensive line, you got to have a guy that can make plays. And honestly, I think based on passing ability, who can create, I think that Hooker is a better option than Joe Milton. And yes, I know Joe Milton had a 54-yard run last week, but can Joe Milton make more plays when there's nothing there than Hendon Hooker? That's what it's going to boil down to, because this offensive line is not always going to allow for that time, for that protection. So who could create? I think Hooker is more of a creator than Milton. And obviously neither one has shown that ability to consistently hit a deep ball. But, I think out of those two, and I think we've seen that are your top two guys. I'm going with Hooker next week, although it wouldn't surprise me if Milton's not starting. We'll see how it goes. I still say if Milton learns how to hit that deep ball, and that's probably going to be the case with all three of the quarterbacks. Milton's real close to being a real good quarterback, but that is what has troubled him prior to coming to Tennessee. So Hendon Hooker's coming from Virginia Tech. Is that what has troubled him also? That's a big question. But I like it. You made the comment. You and I were texting. I think Tennessee has three average quarterbacks who can do good things, but there are also some negatives with them as well.
I saw somebody in the chat say, can we talk about something else besides quarterbacks? Guys, we're going to cover it all, but it's the hot topic, so we are going to kind of go through this quarterback situation. Dustin Sellers with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Dustin. We appreciate it. Says, love the show as always. I'd love to see any of our quarterbacks love to slide. Milton can run over some dudes, but we need all of them. Yep. Obviously, go Big Orange. I agree with that, but again, it kind of goes back to what I said about Hendon Hooker. You go back to the game last week against Pitt, that 3rd and 15, where he's juking to make a guy miss, and that's getting you the first down, which leads to a score to cut it to a one-score game. If he just slides and gets down, you don't pick up the first down there, and now you're still down 2 scores. So what you love about him is also a concern about him. That's a problem when you talk about dual threat quarterbacks. Power T for 5. Thank you for the super chat. Says, guys, it don't matter who's playing quarterback. Both of them are trash. Bailey will transfer out. It will be the same old song and dance. Well, I'm not calling any of our quarterbacks trash. I just, like Indy Kid said, we were talking about it during the game. I think we have 3 average quarterbacks. Nobody's stepping up. Nobody's earning it. Nobody is earning it. And I think Josh Heupel sees the biggest upside in Milton. I wish, you talking about what they do with Hooker and the intermediate passing. I wish they would do more of that with Milton. It seems like when Milton's in the game, everything's a deep ball. I wish they would do more of that intermediate passing. Or we saw today what these wide receivers can do when you get them the ball in space and let them go make a play. We saw Velus Jones make a guy miss. We've seen Callaway do it. We saw Holiday do it today. Give some more quick stuff like that to Milton and let your wide receivers go make plays, and that's going to make Milton look even better.
Yeah. And you notice with this offense, most everything is outside. There's not much in the middle. And it's an interesting offense, I believe, that we can blame the quarterbacks. The biggest question mark's the offensive line. It's been for a few years. It still is the biggest question mark. Is the offensive line. like you said, man, Peyton made some plays today. Bayless Jones made some plays. Jalen Hyatt was open again on some plays, and Hooker got nailed. That offensive line is my biggest concern because the running game without quarterbacks today, that run game is not very good. Passing game, I think, is the least of our worries on offense. They're going to, if this offensive line will give time, these quarterbacks can do good things. There's playmakers on offense that they have to have time. And the offensive line was bad today. If we're going to focus in on the quarterbacks, we're missing where the focus should be. Quarterbacks did what they had time to do with today. The offensive line sucked today against a lower tier FCS team in Tennessee Tech. They have got to be better.
That goes back to the conversation we had in game 2, texting back and forth, was before Harrison Bailey got in the game. Is that part of the reason why Harrison Bailey can't get in the game? Because the offensive line did struggle today. They struggled in pass protection, but they really, really, really struggled running the football. For the second straight game, a quarterback is leading the way in rushing yards. Hendon Hooker, 9 carries, 64 yards and a touchdown. Jalen Wright, he had 9 carries for 43, but he had I think, a 20-yard run in there, so that kind of bumped up his average a little bit. Tyon Evans struggled today. 15 carries, 41 yards, and I'm not putting that on them. I'm putting it on that offensive line, like you said, talking about them. And going back to talking about third down conversions, I see people in the chat talking about that. How many third and shorts did they have where they try to run the football and get absolutely no push up front? Just absolutely no push. And this, we talked about Josh Heupel coming in and being fair and judging him on a game-by-game basis. But when you're looking at this offensive line, and what we talked about the games in the past, the Appalachia States, the ETSUs, when Tennessee couldn't get a push up front, and how that should have sent up a gigantic red flag to everybody. Now we're seeing it against Tennessee Tech. The only game that Tennessee had any success running the football against was Bowling Green, and Bowling Green had the worst running defense in the country last year. So throw that game out. That game's irrelevant. Tennessee Tech struggled to run the football. You're right. The offensive line it's probably my biggest concern. And for all the guys that love Harrison Bailey in the chat, I think that could be a huge reason why he's not getting an opportunity. And maybe I'm wrong, because he showed some accuracy issues today, and that's something Austin Price talked about on VolQuest this week. All the Harrison Bailey lovers aren't seeing the footage from practice where Harrison Bailey is also overthrowing guys on the deep ball. So it is what it is. Let me get caught up on super chats here. Robert, 45 Tennessee for 5. I don't care who starts. But when you can't hold on to the ball against nobody, how is Hooker going to do when he gets hit by a real football player? Well, Robert, to go along with kind of the conversation here with what we're talking about, if you think Hendon Hooker's getting hit, what do you think's going to happen to Harrison Bailey in the backfield? He's going to get lit up too. I saw some people saying that if Harrison Bailey starts to get against Florida, he won't make it through the first quarter because he's going to get killed sitting back there in the pocket. Doc, Gunslinger for 5. Surprised to see so many fourth downs. That's concerning. I've got it pulled up here. I want to go find third down conversions because that was a hot topic. 4 of 13 on third down, which led to 4 for 5 on fourth down. Josh Heupel didn't care. He knew who he was playing. He was trying to take care of Tennessee and Tennessee needed to learn a little bit about Tennessee today. That's why you saw so many fourth down conversions. But third down inefficiency was a huge problem today as well. John Warren for 5. Doesn't say anything, just gives us a $5 tip. Thank you, John. We appreciate it. Evan Counts for 5. We got to let hype get, I'm assuming, a couple more recruiting cycles with Taven. We're going to be hot, chilly. Don't give up on this coach. I don't think either one of us are giving up on this coach, Indy Kid. It's, you talk about offensive line depth. It is what it is. He has what he has. He's got to make the best of it.
Yeah, I think people misinterpreted my day after last week when I said, does Heupel let the Pitt loss define his legacy or does he learn from it? I was by no means. And I got accused in the past of being very good at being repetitive with my language. So what's the happy medium? Do I need to repeat myself to make my point or do I just make my point and go on? And I made the point, I said, does he learn from this, or does he let it define his legacy? By no means at all was I just saying that this Pitt loss is going to define his legacy. He's got a long way to go in his legacy at Tennessee. But, what's going to happen with him? And that's the thing with Harrison Bailey. Everybody's expecting now. Why in the hell does Harrison Bailey have to either play now or transfer? Okay? College football has changed. Yes, NIL is a new thing. The transfer portal is a new thing. Why in the hell does he have to play now or else? Why can he not just sit and develop and wait and then play maybe next year, maybe the year after? Quarterbacks have done it. It's happened for ages, guys. Why are we now in an impatient era where you either play now or you're going to transfer down to ETSU? No respect to ETSU, who stomped Vanderbilt this year, by the way. But why can we not just accept the fact that a quarterback can have time to develop?
You know what's frustrating on that point to me is, I don't think it's Harrison Bailey. That's coming from the fans. And why are the fans putting that? Shut up and let Josh Heupel do what he wants to do, and let Harrison Bailey develop like you're talking about here. But the fans are throwing it out there. Well, if I was Harrison Bailey, I would transfer. Why? Are you a Harrison Bailey fan or a Tennessee fan? I don't get that logic. And to your point, he's technically a true freshman with a ton of potential. A lot of things that I see, again, going back to VolQuest, and Austin Price constantly puts it out there, that he feels like the big pressure behind Harrison Bailey is him getting that 5th star his senior year of high school, late in the game, that put way too much pressure on this kid's shoulders.
Well, hell, man, look at Jarrett Garantano's ranking coming out. Why do you think that guy got so much crap? And I'm not defending him, but his ratings suggested he was going to be a big-time contributor when he got to college, and it's the same with Harrison Bailey. Give the guy time. So many people on our chats, on our videos, predominantly on your videos, because you do the most of them, going on about trying to make these cases for Bailey. He can throw the ball fine. It's having time. It's having decision-making. Giving Josh Heupel time to rebuild this offensive line. It's going to take time. That offensive line has kind of your alpha top 5. After that, it is and I don't even know that the whole top 5 is alpha, to be honest with you. But there is a depth issue, and it's going to take time. Addison Nichols is a very good catalyst to build this offensive line. Maurice Clipper, a very good catalyst to build this offensive line. It's going to take time. Yes, I could see them maybe upgrading via the transfer portal, but Will Friend over the last 3 years, absolutely. We talk about Winky, we talk about Chaney, and a lot of Chaney, that opinion obviously differs, but Will Friend is a guy who absolutely coasted through and did not earn a paycheck over the last 3 years because there's been talent recruited into that offensive line, and it absolutely has not been developed. Therefore, that's why you're seeing issues with the quarterback, because quarterback does not have time to blink without someone breathing down his neck.
Yeah, and a point that I talked about a lot, I got crucified a bit for it, talking about Cooper Mays going out against Bowling Green and how big of an impact that made. You kind of reiterated that earlier. Cooper Mays is a big part of this offensive line. Losing him hurts. Cade Mays goes down today. I'm assuming he's just rattled. He'll be back. I think he'll be fine. Kingston Harris, it looked bad. It looked like ACL-type injury when Kingston Harris went down. They just don't have the depth on the offensive line. Let me get caught up on the Super Chats here. Cody Branch for 5. I'm not going to – Cody, don't make me say that. Don't make me say that, Cody. He's basically just saying now you see why Harrison Bailey isn't playing. Can't stick around, have a good stream. Thank you, Cody, for the super chat. We appreciate it. Robert, 45 Tennessee for 5. Thank you for the super chat. Cade Mays out. I think you mean Cooper. Could the player calling the protection be calling it wrong? Possibly. I mean, that's a possibility, but I think Cooper Mays is underrated. I just think he's a good center. He does communicate well. He lines everybody up. I don't know if there's a miscommunication issue, something that you did notice when Cooper went down against Bowling Green, the offense slowed down. The pace of play slowed way down. Let's see here. Wait.
So before you go any further with it. So fortunately, I've had the pleasure. So I'm coaching football now, obviously at the middle school level, but my position is offensive line. So what happens when my main center goes out for contact tracing? I have to go to a backup. Do you think there's a difference there? And what happens with that? You shift, and you're seeing this with Tennessee. This is apple oranges comparison, but it's the same concept. Your main center goes out. You're shifting a guy from guard who was one of your top guards to center. What are you doing? You're substituting in at that guard spot. It's a big difference, guys. And
which is where Tennessee's getting blown up. They're getting blown up at the guard position.
Exactly. And and that's no slam on anybody. That's the difference. And I'm personally seeing it this year because of being in the trenches there. Obviously, I'm not comparing myself to Glenn Ellerby.
Really?
Anybody, but you lose one of your best, you have to replace. It's a big, big difference. So I get it.
Wait, can we change your name to the Indy Ellerby? I'd be a big fan of
the Indy OL.
The Indy Ellerby. That's what I want. That's what I'm pulling for. Doc Gunslinger for 2. Thank you for the super chat. Says, look at Pitt with Michigan game says a lot. I don't know. Are they playing right now?
Who cares?
Yeah, I don't know what that's.
But I've seen a couple of those references. Who cares, guys?
Thank you for the super chat, though. We do appreciate it. Tom Kirby has become a member of the channel. Thank you, Tom. We appreciate it. Show everybody in the chat those custom Talkin VAWLS emojis. If you guys are asking, what's a YouTube member? Why are they highlighted? Well, if I see that little membership logo, then what I'm going to do is highlight as many of your comments as I can because I appreciate you. What you're doing is making either a 99-cent per month agreement or a $2.99% or $2.99 commitment per month. We appreciate it. It's basically just a monthly super chat. You're saying thank you for the content. Here's a little tip in the tip jar, and it adds up. So everybody that likes what we do, if you join the channel, you become a member of the channel, you get access to custom Talkin VAWLS emojis. We do a fan call-in show occasionally. You get access to that. And then also it's a way of saying thank you and putting a little bit of money in our pocket. So we appreciate that support. Go Vols 99 for 10. Thank you for the super chat. It says, where has Beckwith been? Thank you. That's a big time super chat. That's $10 to ask this question. But I think D Beckwith kind of has the same hype as Harrison Bailey. He's that sexy guy that everybody loves, but he's not good enough to get on the field. We've seen it through 3 games. He's a big physical kid. What I see is that he doesn't run behind his pads well, doesn't get good leverage, and that's why he can't get on the field. So ton of athleticism there. He's a young guy. Like any kid said with Harrison Bailey, give him time to develop. I would say the same for D Beckwith. Let's give him time to develop. He's a true freshman.
Yeah, apparently Pitt lost to Western Michigan, and a lot of you guys crucified me for saying we have to win these games at some point. But I'm not a sunshine pumper, guys. Tennessee should have beat Pitt, not to beat the same drum, but a lot of you. Oh, that effort! Oh my gosh, that effort! Oh, good God, that they didn't play like that for Pitt. Give me a break, man. All right, shut the hell up with the effort stuff.
Oh God, I made a whole video.
I'm sorry to get effort.
I made a whole video about effort. Thanks, man.
Well, I'm over effort. Win or lose, what have you. if you're going to hype that effort stuff, just be quiet. And I'm not going. That's why today I'm the indie villain, because I'm not going to tell you what you want. I'm going off topic a little bit, where I got crucified last week, and that's a strong word, but still yet.
I'll put that in your
somebody
head.
tell me about.
I use it all the time.
Well, somebody told me about, but this team played so much harder. Give me a break, man. When it comes to the end with this program and with Josh Heupel, with whomever, it's about winning. That's all that matters. In the next week against Florida, yes, I agree. It's about being competitive against Pitt, against other teams. It's about winning. Tennessee should have won against Pitt. Not a single one of you is going to make a case otherwise. Don't make a case about anything else. Stop with the effort and meet me where we're at right now. I don't care about effort. Effort was there at times under Pruitt. You've got to finish. So as a guy who absolutely, positively hates to lose, I don't care about effort. Okay? When you make mistakes and you do stupid stuff like 13 penalties for 134 yards, don't give me the effort stuff, because that's stupidity. That's not effort.
I wanted to play devil's advocate, but I don't think I will. I think I'll just move on. We got 255 people watching live right now. Guys, do us a favor. If you like what we do, whether you agree with us, whether you disagree with us, I saw somebody in the chat say, if you guys keep talking about the quarterbacks, I'm going to find another post-game show. Good luck. I hope you find a great show. Sorry, we're not talking about what you want. We're doing the best we can. We just try to cover the hot topics. Everybody in the chat's talking about the Indy kid is pissed again.
I want to highlight one. I'm going to highlight this one.
Wait, well, 265 people watching. Smash that thumbs up. Help us out. We appreciate it. That's a member of the channel. Be kind. Be kind to our members of the channel.
Hey, great member. Great dude from the comments, but no. Give me a break, dude. Stop. Let's stop. I'm done with comparing to the Pruitt era.
Let me play devil's advocate.
I'm grateful for effort, but
let me get through the super chats. We'll come back. That's a hot topic. Let me come back to that. John London for 5, 3.3 plays per minute. Damn, this offense is fast. Worried about the O-line on Harrison Bailey. It might be he needs a couple of years before he's ready. Thank you, John.
Amen.
Thank you, John, for speaking logical. That's like we all want Harrison Bailey to succeed, but let's use some common sense. John, you're bringing the common sense to the show. We appreciate that. Let's see what happens with Harrison Bailey. Taven Jackson's coming in. Those two are going to push each other. That's a good problem to have. But this is just where we're at right now. John Slagle drops a $5 super chat, just a tip in the old tip jar. Doesn't have anything to say, but thank you, Jason. We appreciate it. Cole Dockery for 2. Thank you for the super chat. Says Beckwith needs to be a tight end to get him on the field. Maybe, but I think that Jacob Warren's looked really good through 3 weeks. I like Jacob Warren a lot. Fant's been fine too, but I like Jacob Warren at that tight end position. Drew Prince becomes a member of the channel. Thank you for that. Drew, go ahead and show everybody those super chats. We would appreciate it. Short Fuse for 5. He's the one talking about the quarterbacks and wants to find. Here it is. If he can't move past the quarterbacks, I'm transferring to a new post-game show. Let's talk about defense. Thank you, Short Fuse, for the super chat. We appreciate it. Like I said, it's an hour show, maybe 2 hours. Y'all keep throwing super chats. We'll talk all night long. Y'all want to talk about defense and special team? We'll talk about it all. But you got to realize the hot topic is quarterbacks. That's what we're going to talk about, but we will get to everything. But we do appreciate that super chat. I want to get caught up so we can move forward. John Johnston for 10. He doesn't have anything to say, just drops a little tip in the tip jar. We appreciate that, guys. We do sacrifice time with our families, with our friends. We sacrifice times from going to games so we can get on here and do this post-game show. So any tips are appreciated. Steve Truitt for 10. Thank you for that. Super Chat says, I thought as a whole, it's a good day, including the subs for injuries, especially with what Heupel was handed. Go Vols. Yeah, I think, you kind of touched on that earlier, Indy Kid. I think we have to remember that what Josh Heupel took over, it is what it is. Let's go back and talk. Let me play a little devil's advocate, because today they played Tennessee Tech. They blew the doors off of them. They did what they were supposed to do, 56-0. Let's go back and talk about that Pitt game a little bit. You're talking about you don't care about effort and moral victories, and I agree with that to a certain extent. You got to finish the game, right? You got to finish the game. But to somebody's point there, talking about the Jeremy Pruitt era, how many times did we see Jeremy Pruitt's teams fold and just roll over late in the game? And what I liked about that game, and I look, if I can't win the game, I'm not going to play. If I think you're better than me at NCAA football, guess what? I'll just quit. I ain't going to play. If I can't win, I'm not going to play. That's the way I've been my whole life. But Tennessee went into that game as the underdogs. Tennessee multiple times in that game were down 2 scores. They never rolled over. They continued to fight. And if this was year 4 of the Jeremy Pruitt era, then I would say piss on moral victories, piss on fight, that none of that matters. But it's year 1 for Josh Heupel. I like seeing that change of culture. And I get where you're coming from. I'm not saying that you're wrong and I'm right. What I'm saying is I like what Josh Heupel has built, but to kind of somewhat agree with you, that was the second game of his Tennessee era. Will they continue to show that fight if they have 6, 7, 8 losses later in the season? That's when you're going to win me over with effort. It's easy to show fight in the second game of the season.
Yeah, once again, my comments are getting misconstrued. I'm going to highlight this one.
Oh, God, you're ignoring me to go back to Eric S. Jones.
I'm the stupid one.
Let me say this.
You're
No.
not
Wait,
even using proper grammar.
Wait.
Come on.
Stop. Don't insult. Let me say this. Stop with the insult, guys. I already timed one person out. If you're going to call people stupid and dumb and voice your opinion, but stop with the insults. Grow up. Drop the insults. Go ahead. Sorry.
I'm not saying at all that effort doesn't count. I agree. Last year, we did not see the effort, but I'm just at that point with Tennessee football to where I'm grateful for effort, but we got to see results. And, I've taken a beating for the last week, and honestly, it doesn't bother me. But, yes, I'm grateful this team's playing hard. And, yes, there were times last year we did not see that, but you have to finish. You have to play smart. And I know just based on coaching, you teach these guys to be smarter than that. Honestly, I think we're misplacing all the blame in all this. Who does the blame ultimately boil down to when they don't execute, they don't convert? It's the players. That's who's doing it. Your coaches are coaching hard. They're teaching. It's repetitious as could be. Yes, they're teaching effort. And trust me, there's a lot of times where there are players who don't do it in practice, who do it in the games. It's just, there's a switch. It happens at all levels. But, these teams, that's probably a problem. Maybe not just Tennessee, but all places. If you can't flip switch in practice, it gets harder to flip it in the games. So what happens? Maybe you flip it and you play harder in games, but you start making mistakes in the games where you've not been as hard on those in practice. Maybe you as a player, you've not taken that responsibility as hard in practice as you do in the game. It's a big difference right there. And yeah, I'm not stupid. So it is what it is. Effort counts, whatever. But in the grand scheme of things, and we've gotten off topic from today's game, but
it's Tennessee Tech. We're talking about the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, you got to beat teams when you have that opportunity. And last week was a missed opportunity. Nobody's going to convince me otherwise. Tennessee should have won that game. They didn't. It's a revisionist history right now. But, stop telling me then I'm stupid for not looking more at effort.
There's a good point. There's a good point right there. Pitt quarterback went out in the first quarter. You don't think that made a difference in that game?
Yeah, big difference.
NFL level quarterback going out. Look, Tennessee had every opportunity to win that game. And where is the pulse of this fan base if they go out there and they take care of business against Pitt, and then they go out today and win 56-0? This fan base is all of a sudden saying, well, we're going to go down there and beat Florida. That's how this fan base works. It is what it is. That's what they would be saying. I agree with you. Tennessee had every opportunity to win that game. I just like seeing some fight and some effort. Let me get caught up on Super Chats again here. I want to make sure I go back to the right one. Hold on. Give me just a second. John London for 5. Thank you, John. Says, nice to see Whitehead to get some playing time, but still think our lack of depth. He should move to linebacker. That's the best Indy kid has looked all day long. Look at that. Look how great the Indy kid looks there. Looks gorgeous. Looks absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, John, I agree. It was, I think, it's kind of surprising that we've not seen Whitehead move. Sometimes I wonder why D. Beckwith hasn't moved. But, it is what it is. The staff is keeping them where they're at for a reason. Power T for 5 says Boogie and only Boogie. Good, because Indy kid, I don't know what he's doing. I don't know if he's filling up his drink or if he's got to go to the bathroom. But the Indy kid is gone. So, Boogie, give me your next 4 wins for the season. Look, when we pull up the schedule and we look at it, my season prediction was 6 wins. And the reason that I picked 6 wins, and I also, when I predicted 6-6, I talked about just how important that Pitt game was. And I thought that Pitt game was a swing game, but they needed to win that game if they wanted to get to 6 wins. Well, they didn't get it done. So now my prediction would shift from 6 to 5. So they've got 2. So if you're wanting to put me on blast and ask where my wins come, I would be looking at 3 wins instead of necessarily 4 wins. But I think this team, I think they're obviously going to go out and they're going to take care of business against Vanderbilt and South Alabama. So that's 2 wins. And I think when you look at South Carolina, Missouri, and Kentucky, I think Tennessee finds a way to win one of those games. So I get that your question is, what are my next 4 wins? Well, my prediction was 6-6 if they beat Pitt. And that's why I put so much emphasis on that Pitt game. They didn't get it done. So now I'm looking at more of a 5-7 prediction because I thought Tennessee would take care of business against Pittsburgh. So because of that, again, I think they beat South Alabama. I think they beat Vanderbilt. And I would hope you find a way to beat Missouri, South Carolina, or Kentucky. So that's where I'm at. I hope I answered your question there. Jeremy GC for 10. Let me get that off the screen there. Says, is it true we have the most points scored in the first 3 games from any coach in history? Love the show, guys. Well, thank you, Jeremy. We appreciate it. I have no idea if that's accurate or not. I'm assuming you don't either, Indy kid.
No, I'm not sure. I mean, I'll be honest. I think the word I would use is volatility of this offense. They can hit at any point, and that's a welcome addition. I mean, we've seen the offense the last 3 years where it was almost surprising to even see a touchdown.
They couldn't score 17 points. That's it.
No, they are. I love this offense, and I think a lot of times it's maybe misconstrued with me how I think about it. There's a difference between effort and penalties and stuff, but you and I know we've played against each other in NCAA for years. You're more of a grinded out type guy.
I'm a Fulmer. You're a Josh Heupel.
I'm a balls to the wall type guy, for lack of a better term. It's let's go up and down the field. I love it. I think it's awesome. But I think it's going to take some time to see the full effect of how this offense can operate. And if they will continue to build this defense, if they will continue to build around this offense, there's a lot of potential here. The one thing we're not going to see under the Josh Heupel era is a Jeremy Pruitt offense. We're not going to see that at any point, and I think it's a positive. This is a fractured fan base. It's an aggravated fan base. It's an impatient fan base. But while, yeah, I'm tired of hearing the effort and stuff, I get it. I understand it. And I agree with it, yet I'm not totally on board with that aspect of it. We're going to get there, guys. I really think for the first time in a while, I think this is a guy who is comfortable in his own skin. If you think Josh Heupel's happy with this, I don't – if any of us thinks Josh Heupel is happy with how things are going, we're all wrong on this. We're in the right direction, and part of this I'm going to go back to. I know you're ready to read this super chat, but one of the things with Danny White, and I saw this reiterated, a good point made this week, when Strickland at Florida took over as the AD, he tried not to hire Dan Mullen, but who did he come back to when he had trouble? He went to the guy he was comfortable with. That's the same with Danny White. Danny White tried to hire James Franklin. That was close. Regardless of what anybody says, that one was close. There was Tony Elliott. Who knows who else there was? But when it all boiled down to it, he went back to who he thought could get the job done or who he knew could get the job done, who he was comfortable with, and he went to Heupel. Yeah, I'm impatient. I hate to lose. No matter what it is, it could be throwing crap against the wall. I hate to lose at that as well. But whatever it is, we're going to have to get this time. We're going to disagree along the way, but by God, I mean, we're all on the same boat. If we all stepped outside of Talkin VAWLS and stuff, I would hope we would all hug it out, drink it out, whatever it came to. But in this chat, we're going to agree to disagree sometimes. It's going to take time. There are Band-Aids that need to be put on along the way, but I still think this team's on the right path, but I'm still yet at that point. I'm tired of hearing about effort along the way. If that whole rambling effect makes sense.
I'll drink to that. Look at this cup. Will it focus?
Wow. Man, that's been a while.
That was me and old Snake. We went down for the orange and white game, and Tennessee played Arkansas in baseball that same day. We went over and watched it. Power T for $5 says, Indy, I don't know after the play calling today. That's something we touched on earlier. The play calling gets a little bit more conservative when Hendon Hooker is in the game. So I don't necessarily disagree with that, Power T. I think you're right with that. Aaron Young for $5 says, I'll give you a super chat, Boogie, but I still think Bailey is the answer. Start building the future. I don't know how anybody watched Harrison Bailey play today and think that he should be starting. Is he the future? Maybe. I want to see him and Taven Jackson compete and make each other better, because we don't know what Taven Jackson's going to be. We have no idea. But I saw Harrison Bailey today, and I didn't see anything that made me want to say he should be starting over Joe Milton or Hendon Hooker, either one. Pecan for $2. Thank you, Pecan, for the super chat. Says we made a lot of effort getting penalties versus Pitt. Thank you, Pecan, for the super chat. Evan counts for 10. This is exactly what's wrong with Tennessee football. Too many negative fans and calling people stupid. LOL. Thank you for what y'all do, Boogie, Indy, and Dauber. Look, Evan, it is what it is. We're used to it, but sometimes we still get triggered and we get fired up and we start lashing out at people. If you guys saw the number of insults that we got on every video we made, I think you would probably be surprised. It is what it is. That's why we try to reiterate, we are fans. We're just like you guys. Like, we're just fans, and we're just on here giving our opinions. And whether you agree or disagree, when you start name calling, you're lame. I'll time you out. If you continue, you can get banned. Like, I work a real job. Indie Kid works a real job. We have real families. I'm not here to be a punching bag, so I can come back at you. I can be a real jerk and I can attack you, or I can just ban you and move on with my life. It's way easier. Like, I don't care. I'll ban 500 people and I'll be sitting here with Indie Kid and 3 listeners if you're that immature. It is what it is. Jason Slagle for 20. That is a big time super chat. Thank you, Jason. We appreciate it. Hendon Hooker turnover machine. I disagree. Yes, it's Tennessee Tech, but I agree that it's more on the O-line. We don't know if we had limits by any coaches with having to play Florida next week. That's a good point, Jason. And I think you can look at who was out today. Joe Milton. If this was Florida week, I think Joe Milton's playing. Jabari Small, Florida week, he's playing. Cooper Mays, Florida week, I think he's playing. Latrell Bumpus out. I don't know about him. DeJoun Terry also out. Not sure about him. Eason was out. Jawan Mitchell was out. I don't know how many. Maybe all of those guys are playing today. If it's a big time game like Florida.
Yeah, maybe. Just to backtrack a comment. Dude, you're an awesome lit, Eric. Hey, we can agree to disagree. It's all good, man. Eric Ash Jones is an awesome member. So thank you for being passionate. We can disagree. It's all good. So we can all get our blood boiling a little bit. Cool deal. Yeah, I think some other guys would have played today. Something we've not talked about, though, is and something we talked about going into the first 2 games that hadn't happened. What about this defense? They pitched a shutout. They forced some turnovers today. We finally saw some turnovers, and who did I call out this week who made the play? Alante Taylor. I said, man, it's time to either make a play or get replaced.
Man, I wish you would have housed it.
Yeah, man. I was disappointed, and I wanted to see that replay to see was that Hill out of bounds.
They still spotted
wasn't.
They spotted it wrong, but he was out of bounds, but they spotted it wrong still.
Yeah, I still would have liked to have seen the back view to see did that Hill come down out of bounds or not, because I don't know that it did. I think it was questionable. And I was fired up when he took it back. I was like, he listened to the Indy Kid this week. He stepped up, made the play. Jalen McCullough had an interception. Solon Page had an interception for a touchdown.
How great was it to see that one? To see him.
That was awesome. Yep, that was awesome. So that you have to start somewhere. And you have to start somewhere to build off of it. They hadn't had any turnovers first 2 games. Now they have them. Where do they go from here? And, man, I'm excited to see what they do next week in the Swamp. I'm not expecting them to go down and win. Yes, I want to see effort. I absolutely want to see the effort out of them. I'm not discounting the effort these guys are giving. What happens next week? And if this team is not competitive next week, I'm going to be disappointed. Now, by no means am I expecting them to go down and win. Hell, they haven't won there in 18 years. So why would I expect them to win now? But I am going to be disappointed if they're not in that game going into the fourth quarter.
I want to see what this Tim Banks defense does next week because, say what you want. We spend so much time, and to go back and kind of defend what somebody said in the chat, even though I yelled at them, but let's stop talking about the quarterback position. But that's the hot topic, right? If you're running a YouTube channel, you hit on the hot topics. That's why people say, Boogie, stop making quarterback videos. But I put out a quarterback video and it gets 10,000 views. I put out a defensive video and it gets 2,000 views. What do you think the hot topic is for a YouTuber? It's to talk about the quarterbacks. But to see this Tim Banks defense, they went out, they gave up 6 points to Bowling Green. Yeah, they gave up some points to Pitt. I get it. Pitt also has an NFL level quarterback. It is what it is. I'm not happy with the performance against Pitt, but I get it. The key for me is do what you're supposed to do against the teams you're supposed to do it against. We saw them go out, give up 6 points to Bowling Green, and now they shut out Tennessee Tech. I said it when we made our predictions Tuesday night. I said, you know what? I don't think I've ever predicted a shutout, but I went with Tennessee to win 59-0 because Tennessee should shut out Tennessee Tech. And they went out, they did what they were supposed to do. And like you said, we've talked about turnovers the first 2 weeks. They've not been able to do that. They go out today, they forced 4 turnovers. This Tim Banks, I'm ready to see this Tim Banks defense against that Florida offense. What does concern me is that backup quarterback. Something tells me, and we're not watching the Alabama game. I'm recording it. Going to go watch it after we get off air. Something tells me they're going to make a change at quarterback going into next week. And we're going to see that athletic kid out there. And look at Tennessee Tech's quarterback today. Yeah, he looked awful throwing the ball. What did he end up? Let me pull up the stats here. He ended up 2 for 10. 2 for 10 with 18 yards and an interception. But when he was in the game, 10 carries for 30 yards, but he had a little spark. It's why Tennessee couldn't get to him and get him to the ground. Athletic quarterbacks just scare me.
Man.
You know I'm right. I can see it in your eyes.
Yeah. Man. Oh, man. We're doing a tailgate next Saturday, correct?
We are. 100%.
It's a 7 o'clock game.
100%. Right? We're doing a tailgate next Saturday.
Yeah. My blood's going to be boiling. That's my game. That blue and orange just chaps my ass more than any color, any more than any color there is. Man, I'm going to be believing next Saturday night.
Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord.
And I have no reason to, but I would not pick a Tennessee win by any means, but if this offense will execute, they're going to go to Gainesville with a shot. With a shot. I don't think Florida's unbeatable. I still say they're in transition. We've seen some comments in chat. Alabama's up 21-3. I know that's an apples to oranges comparison, but I want to see it. I don't think Tennessee's far off. I mean, 24/7 Sports did a composite talent rankings. Tennessee was within the top 20. There's talent on this roster. So, man, we just got somebody to hone it all in. And I don't see any hopefully Alabama just obliterates. I was honestly kind of hoping Florida would beat Alabama. That way Tennessee could play Florida coming off their high, beating Alabama next week. But, we know what zone they're all in. But I think Tennessee's going to go down and make it a game next week. I'm not picking them to win, but I am picking it to make them a game.
Let me get caught up on Super Chats here. We got quite a few. Philip Bowman for 5. Thank you for the Super Chat. Says, you guys are doing great. Don't let the trolls take over. Coaches need time to teach and players to progress. We are on our way. Go Big Orange. Philip, we appreciate that. I appreciate the support. You wouldn't know how many times we talk off air about it. It's tough. It's tough because at the end of the day, we're real dudes. And we see the comments. We see what people say. So you got to have thick skin to do this. We know that. It is what it is. Kevin Bear
real live
5.
Dudes.
We're real live dudes. Kevin Bear for 5. Pickett set out for a series, but played the rest of the game. He threw 6 touchdown passes. Depth in the trenches is our biggest issue. I agree with that on the offensive line. Defensive line is struggling too. They've got to get more pressure to the quarterback.
Yeah.
You did see that a little bit more once they took out the mobile quarterback. Once he went down with the injury, I think you saw a little bit more of what the defensive line can do. But again, it's Tennessee Tech. It's Tennessee Tech. That's why this game sucks, because it doesn't matter what happens. It doesn't matter who shines, who struggles. It's Tennessee Tech. It is what it is. Chris,
Did you notice Byron Young today?
Dude, early in the game, I think it was the second quarter, he was leading the team in tackles. But it was kind of a quiet thing. Like the commentators sucked today. They weren't telling you who was in the game. You didn't know what was going on. Is it that hard? Is this is it that hard to get the first down line and the yards to gain on the screen accurately? Is it that big? Like, is it that difficult? I mean, ESPN is $1 billion company. Can you not get the first down marker accurate on the screen?
I have an idea. So on these ESPN Plus telecasts, which is normally not your main announcing crews, for Tennessee, Boogie, the Indy kid,
coming at you live.
We call this game. We'll be up to date. Who knows where our feeds will be, but hopefully we can be on the same thing. We can get you going in the right direction, commentate that game. That's what an ESPN Plus feed is.
That's what you.
Maybe we can bring in Michael Bisping to help us with the feed.
Pardon you, me. We should have brought that up before now because they're. What's the contract? Once a year they do that. I think once a year it has to be a streaming game. So we missed the boat on that. We should have done that. We should have done it today. Thanks, Indy Kid, for being on
South Alabama's a possibility.
If it is, we'll stream it unless we're live on location somewhere. Chris Wu for 5. Identity. Tennessee has an identity. It's nice to know who we are trying to be for once. Just got to get depth and execute better. Go Big Orange, believe the hype. Yeah, Josh Heupel's got to recruit. I made a video earlier this week talking about if he can't recruit on defense, he's going to have to go into the portal again. And I think, we talk about the transfer portal changing the game. That's his opportunity to utilize that to get guys in on defense and offense. But I think he's going to recruit okay on offense. I think we're going to be fine there. John London for 5. Thank you, John. Says only 3 penalties this week. We'll have to be that way next week with no turnovers to even have a chance. Yeah. You can't turn the football over. That's Hendon Hooker. If he's the guy, he's got to clean that up. But Joe Milton too. Joe Milton, fumbled once in each game? Or has he fumbled 3 times? I can't remember.
No, once in each game.
Okay. Cole Dockery for 2. Thank you, Cole. Indy Kid got Alante that pick. Indy is my dude. Yeah, go ahead and send in your donations and your super chats directly to the Indy Kid. You can thank him for that Alante Taylor interception. All right, we are all caught up on super chats. We're an hour and 2 minutes into the show. We typically go an hour. Indy Kid, is there anything else you want to touch on before we get out of here? Or if they want to throw money at us, keep going.
No, business-like approach today, 56-0. You were pretty close on yours. I said 65-3. So, yeah, that'd be awesome. Us calling the game. I don't know that you'd probably have to put the women and the children to bed on that one though during the Florida game because
no holds barred right here on the Talkin VAWLS Network.
Yeah, I don't know if that one would be for the faint of heart, so to speak. But this program's going to grow. It's a matter of what do we want to make them? Do we want to? And I'm guilty of this as well. Do we want to speed up the process and expect them to be top of the line now, or do we want to give them time? Yes, I was upset last week because I thought Tennessee just pissed away an opportunity to win that game. And my whole mindset is I would rather get blown out than to lose a close game because I know if I get blown out, I really don't have any excuses other than to go back to the drawing board and to figure out where I went wrong. If I lose a close one, there's always going to be something to go back and, figure out what I could have done better to have won that game. So that was my whole issue with Pitt. I thought there were so many opportunities to have won that game. We'll see how it goes next week. I still think Tennessee has the chance to go down and make that competitive next week. I don't see any reason that they shouldn't. I'm still the belief, based on what I've seen enough out of 3 games, we've seen basically a game and a half of Milton, a game and a half of Hooker at this point. I think Hooker is the better option. I just really do. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I don't know that that's going to back it up next week. But based on what I've seen, I think Hooker's elusiveness is a better option for this offense than Joe Milton's is.
Cole Dockery for 2 says, y'all need to be calling every single home game, true fans. I don't know if I could do that. We did the live broadcast for an Alabama game a couple of years ago. It's exhausting. It's tough. But we appreciate the super chat and the support. Also, if you guys want to support the channel, go check out the official merchandise of the Talkin VAWLS Network. They're good price shirts, good quality merchandise, any and all support. We do appreciate it. It's basically advertising for us. If you guys dig what we do, go pick up a shirt or a hat or a water bottle. Any and all support, like I said, is greatly appreciated. Go to bonfire.com/store/Talkin VAWLS. The link to all the merchandise is in the description below. We've got this Diamond Balls merchandise. Baseball season is right around the corner, guys. We're going to be going live. Myself, the Indy Kid, are committed to providing you baseball coverage. We'll be covering it the best way possible. I think we're probably going to do a live stream on Sundays after the games and kind of cover the weekend baseball. Also, we got Vol Hoops merchandise. Indy Kid and Dauber are going to be covering that for you. Have you guys even talked about it? Are you guys going to go live once, twice a week? Do you know yet?
My plan is we'll go live after every game.
Every game.
Plus videos covering recruiting. There has not been a lot on Tennessee Hoops recruiting other than right now they are hosting the number 7 prospect in the nation, Talkin Wallace, out of Texas. I have made videos on that. That recruitment has been going on. It's gotten really interesting. I think it's basically between Kentucky and Tennessee, but he is in town this weekend. Hopefully he was at the game today, and the full court press is on him. So there's honestly not been a whole lot with Tennessee recruiting, but yes, once that rolls in, there will be, my plan is every game, post-game show, and videos to cover that team this year. I think it's going to be a fun year. So we'll go from there.
So just make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. If you enjoy what we do, hit that thumbs up. It helps the channel. If you disagree with us, but you're still here every week, if you hit thumbs down, I don't know what the point is. All you're doing is trying to hurt us. If you like what we do, if you appreciate it, like Kevin Bear saying, good show. Appreciate it, fellas. Thank you, Kevin, for the support. Hit that thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Don't miss out. We're live every single post game and also Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Subscribe to the channel. Don't miss out. But that is going to wrap it up for this one. He's the Indy Kid. My name is Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.
The songs howl like me, poets sat in our chains, soaking moonlit falls on